Weird. Hi. Whew, that was probably really loud on your guys' end. Me just going. Hi, hi. Okay. Um, welcome to what is this? This is episode 34 million. All right. This is still doing this, which I don't want. I didn't pay $0 for that neon to have it not show up in the background. Thanks for being here on whatever platform you're this. So it's on YouTube Live, it's on Twitter Live, Facebook Live. What's the one that I never use? Twitch Live, and then a couple other ones. So I can't really see sometimes where your comments come in, but so if you're leaving them and they're not showing up, there's probably something I'm doing wrong. And hey, no surprise there. All right. Take a sip of that fucking coffee. I'm gonna be in Boston. I'm leaving actually today. And then I got a couple shows. I'll be at the Wilbur with Nick Swartzen, which I'm very excited about. And then that's on Friday. And then on Saturday, Foxwoods Casino, also with Nick Swartzen. That'll be fun too. It'll be a good weekend. I did Atlantic City last week, opening for Swartzen again, and always so fun hanging out with him. And he's he's a good dude. We're like good friends, but it's still fun like watching him on stage and stuff because he was like, he's not it's not like he's an older comic. He is in comedy years, and he's older than me, but he started so young that he's still one of the guys I watched when I was like a teenager before I started, So normally when that's the case, you'll see a guy and they're like 15, 20 years older. But he was like a teenager, like me. So it's cool to be like, that's a comic I watched when I was like, 15, 16, 17. And then when I started, I was like, oh yeah, there he is performing at the Improv, and then like became buddies and stuff. And now I very fortunately get to work with him. He's always nice about taking his friends on the road and stuff. So I did Atlantic City with him, and it was fun. I'd never been there, and if you've never been and you're guessing, Nick, is it a total fucking Vegas meets Reno style dump? And why would you ever want to go there unless it was for work and then you'd leave immediately? You're right. Yeah, you're right. That's what it is. It's a dump. But the place we were performing was great. The Borgata, super cool, nice, fucking like fancy hotel, casino, resort type place. But I'm talking about the whole city. Is if you're like, I've been to Vegas, I've been to Reno, they both suck. You don't need to go to Atlantic City or even drive through it or near it, or don't go to Jersey at all. No, Jersey gets a bad rap, but Atlantic City is fucking lines right up with everything they've ever said about it. The fucking like steroid bro energy there was like, and I'm like, I'm not that fucking guy. Like I work out, I stay in shape and stuff, but I'm not like fucking no neck, ready for you bump into me, bro. Like that, dude. There was 1,000 of those guys. I was like, dude, I have to walk fucking sideways, just to make sure I don't accidentally bump into a guy who's just dying for a fight. And the later into the night it gets in a city like that, like the people are getting angrier because they're losing money, and if they went to a club and they're trying to get laid and they don't. So if you're seeing like a group of dudes walk around at like midnight and there's no women with them and they're not smiling, that means they're horny and there's nothing they can do about it and they lost money. And then you just turn around and walk the other way or don't make any eye contact because they're probably, that guy's fucking taller than me too, I'll show him, yeah, the energy there is just so like, aggressive for no reason. But the show is fucking awesome, thank God. You know, there are no Schwarzenegger's crowds are great. They're super like nice and supportive and fun. Um, so the show was awesome. You know, it was only one night, which was nice, and we got to like hang out and it was cool. It was nice to be able to do like a big fun show like that. Um, I guess I might as well say this now. I've been trying to do this for a couple of years now, and obviously the pandemic is the pandemic, and it fucking shut everything down for everybody. But I wanted to record. I wanted to film a special, um, somewhere in 2020, and then COVID. Um, and then since things started ramping back up again, I junked a bunch of material, went on tours, started doing like some new stuff, and I've been on the road a lot. And I was like, I want to do one maybe in 2021 was the original thing. Got pushed back. I was like, that's fine. I can work on it more, add some new stuff throughout a couple more older things. And I was like, I want to do one in 2022. My original goal was to be like April, May, maybe. And then that turned into like late June. And now here we are in mid June, and I'm not doing it. And the reasons are just, you know, getting the right amount of like road work and then being able to like put money towards it. And the big problem is just not being able to fucking financially afford to make it look right, you know. You can get 2 3 shitty cameras and have it look like your average YouTube video, but that's not what I want. I want it to look good. I want it to be a document of here is an hour of material that's wasn't just filmed on an iPhone, like you want, and those can look fine, but like you want it to look like a special, even though I don't want to call it that because there are no more specials because there's too many and none of them are special. But I still want it to look better than your average video. And that shit costs money. And maybe I was naive because I haven't actually done one yet. I've done the album thing. I know how to do that. You can do that for cheap. I've done that a bunch of times. I can figure that out and execute that easy for very little money. So I was like, oh, add a few cameras. It'll be, another, it'll cost a couple thousand. It's, yeah, right. Once you start shooting with camera, the venues all of a sudden want you to pay them because it's going to be, if you're going to sell it, then we want, I mean, before you even like do anything, it's 10, 15, 20, 30 grand if you want to get like a theater and you want to do it right and 4 or 5 cameras and all these. Every estimate I've gotten is, more money than I've ever had at one time ever. So by far. So I don't know. And I keep pushing it back and I keep finding ways. You work with what you got. So you try to like, you're like, all right, here are the constraints. I want to like um find a way to do it cheaper, But then you get to a point where you're like, well, all right, now this is so cheap, it's just gonna look shitty again. And every time I go, all right, just wait, go back on the road, save, things are getting more expensive. It's like, flights are making some gigs not even worth doing. And I don't know. So the thought across my mind, and then I've started giving it more thought, that I might have to fucking start a GoFundMe or something. And it just makes me every time I think about that, just because I don't know, because it's so self-serving. It's not like my cousin a couple of years ago started one to help our family in Lebanon after that bombing. That's a great reason to start a GoFundMe. I shared the fuck out of that. I was like annoying about it. It was a great reason, but I honestly I don't know how else to raise the money to be able to do this besides that. And this has been a few years of trying every other thing I could. So this isn't like I woke up one day and I was like, I want to shoot this. Time for everyone to give me money, I don't like asking for stuff. I don't like asking for help. I like asking for just like strangers to give me their money for like I also did it once for raising money for the AIDS life cycle. But again, great cause. That wasn't about me. Um, but I don't know. I'm thinking of doing it. If anyone's done it or, you know, anyone donates to those things, like what throw your feelings about it at me. And I don't know. I want to bounce this off people and think it through. And who knows? Maybe some other people have shot specials and they did it that way too. And I guess, there's ways to kind of sweeten the deal for the people who donate. You get a free copy of it, free tickets to come see me, blah blah blah. I want to find a way to make it because I'm not gonna make a profit off of this thing. I will still end up losing money, even if I raising the money will just be like to pay for equipment and people, so the people who are working on it get paid. Because I also don't want to ask for free favors. Like everyone deserves money. But this is the world of stand up now, and there's no waiting to get a special from whoever, because they're not doing it. I wouldn't even expect to sell it, like make it look good. I honestly wouldn't expect any of the platforms to buy it, because they're like, well, you don't have 200 million fucking followers, so fuck off. Just a version of the way it's always been entertainment. But so I'm thinking about the GoFundMe route, and it will be worth it in that the special will be really good. I'm really good, and material's really good, and I'm way overdue for one. But I don't know. And I'm saying, I have to say this stuff out loud for accountability reasons. So now it's like it's out there now. I gotta. So I might be starting one. I probably will be, because I honestly don't see any other way. I really don't. It's just I'm fucking getting just buried in just the debt. It's fucking hard out there right now, man. It's pretty fucked up. But I'm still very fortunate. I'm grateful to be able to work and be where I'm at. There's always the people that go, I would kill to be where you are, even if you think like I'm fucking nowhere, and I might not want like a private jet or anything, but like, you always are like, I could be up there. And then there's people who are down here that were like, I would take that in a heartbeat. I'd be able to do this and this and this with it. You got to think like that. And that's how I think. And that's why I like want to get up every day and keep working and keep going. Even on those days where I'm like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to keep going. This is enough. 40's enough. I'm good. I'm done. And then it's like, well, go on a bike ride. See how you feel after. 73 miles, by the way, yesterday. I do over 100 a week, every week. And that's broken up between, usually there's one long ride. And that's anywhere between 50 and like 65, 70, and then a couple of shorter ones. And if I'm on the road or I'm like busy doing other stuff, maybe one other medium one just to get me to 100. So, but I usually like to do like a 60, then like a 30, and then a 20 or a 225, something like that, like split it up to where I'm not like fucking hurting. Because again, I just turned 40, so I'm not invincible anymore. I can't just wake up without stretching and then just jump on a bike and do a full century. I mean, I can, but I will feel like I'm in a full body full body cast, and then probably in a casket after that, because my body's like, we're shutting down. We don't know why you're doing this to us anymore. But yeah, so yesterday, 73 miles. And you might be some of you are thinking right now this. One, why? Why would you do that? Fuck you. Don't do that. Stop. And then other of you might be thinking like, okay, well, if you've done, if you regularly do 60, what's 13 more miles at that point? 13 miles from say you did 3 miles, doing 13 more, fucking piece of cake, dude. I wouldn't break a sweat during that. But once you get to like 40 or 50, adding another 5 to 10, you're just like, I'm gonna be feeling that. It's gonna be hard. You get to like 60, 65, getting to 73, you're like, that's a lot. Feels like a lot more. Feels like you're adding another 30 or 40. But yesterday I was just fucking in the zone, dude. I like when I go out on a ride, I'll be like, I'll never be like, I'm doing 70 today. I'll be like, let's just get to here and see how we feel. Let's get to 15 miles in, and you know, you you always think like to this point, and then obviously you double it because it's a round trip. I'm not a cheater. I don't ride out to wherever and then take the fucking train back or whatever. I will do it's always do the round trip. So I go, all right, get to mile 15, and then that'll be 30 by the time I'm back. Then you get there and you're like, I feel fine. Set another 10. So he gets, all right, we're at 25, maybe 30, and then that's boom, there you go, you're at 60. Um, Yesterday I was like, just do like maybe we'll just do 40 today. I'm like, I don't know, my knee feels a little, and then I got to like mile 20, and I was like, I haven't really broken a sweat. I'm like, that's good. Maybe I just needed to warm up. And those are those moments where you go like, okay, this is why you just sometimes the days you don't want to do anything. It's forcing yourself a little. It tends to like produce that result anyway. That feeling of like, oh, I'm glad I did that. Because say I did stop at 20 or 30, it still would have been 20 or 30 more. And if I didn't do it, I would have like been fucking tired and mopey, and I would have beat myself up over not doing it. And then it would have been a shitty day. And then that day that was going to be 20 yesterday turned into 73 just because I was like, God, I feel way better than I thought. I'm glad I just made myself get up and do something, anything. And then I rode all the way up to Nyack, which is essentially like across the river from Sleepy Hollow, New York. So like that kind of around there, if you know the New York area, north of the GW Bridge, like up there. Um, Probably easily an hour and a half, 2 hours in a train. Um, so I got up there and I was at like, 35, 36. And I was like, oh yeah, I got to go back. And then I don't know what it was, man. I think just from, you start stacking up like the doing 100 every week, and then it starts feeling easier. So it's just getting easier. Then you got to start adding more miles. You always want it to be difficult and you get the workout out of it. So I felt fucking good about that. And I'm taking victories wherever I can get them right now. Wherever. And sometimes you got to do that, man. Sometimes you got to like stop and just be like, that's a tiny victory. I'm going to fucking sit in that for a moment because haven't been a lot of victories lately. So this one will have to do. And I'm going to be happy about it. That's something I used to never, ever do because I thought it made you tougher and stronger. I was laughing about this to myself the other day. And I was like, I used to never say, and this is not an exaggeration, I used to never say, when someone asks, how are you? I would never say good or great. Definitely never great. Or how's life? How you doing? I would never be like, oh, everything's awesome. I honestly thought admitting that you felt great would mean it was like downhill right after that. Like there were some, and I'm not even like a superstitious or whatever. I thought I would just be like, I'd be sitting there, and so I'd be like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, man, I feel fucking great. And then I'm like, oh, my phone's ringing. Hello? Yeah. Oh, they're all dead? Everybody that I've ever known? Okay, cool. Great. Well, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said I'm great. That was the department of everyone's dead, and they just told me that everyone's dead that I've ever known and liked. I used to think like that. I was like, something bad will happen if I admit that things are going my way. Things are going good. And I always thought that like it was like this false sense of control that I had over something where I was like, Well, if things actually do get good, then it's like they could be taken away whenever. So I'm like, well, if I never admit that they are good, then the taker away people won't take him away because they're like, he doesn't feel good about that. So we'll leave him alone with it for a while until he eventually feels good. You know what I mean? I don't know if you do a version of that, but that's just fucking like masochistic. Is masochistic the one where you do it to yourself? Yeah. Um, that's crazy thinking. So I had to like give myself like little bits at a time. I'd be like, it's okay to say that you feel good or things are going well or whatever, or you're happy about are you happy? I would never say I was happy. And for the most part, I never have felt happy for longer than, I don't know, day, two in a row. But even in those moments, I've never let myself admit I'm happy with the way things are or are going or blah blah blah. It's fucked up. But you get sober, you get on meds, you go to therapy, you start learning that these are just thoughts in your head. They're not fucking death sentences. They're not indicative of if anything. It's actually worse for you to never acknowledge the little victories and all that stuff. It's stupid. Um, but yeah, so now I can like if someone goes, "Oh, you're about to do this thing. How do you feel?" I'm like, fucking, awesome. I can't wait. It's gonna be fun. And then you just let yourself feel good about it for a second. Crazy. Like if I saw someone else acting that way, or if they said, "Hey, this is what I do," I would be like, "You need clinical help," you know. But when you do something like that yourself, you have rationalized the fucking hell out of it, and it makes perfect. There's no other way. Well, if I did admit I was happy, that would be the downfall of everything. House of cards crumbling. All right. I'm going to Boston for the first time. So if you know where to eat, where to fucking walk around, good coffee, that kind of shit, send it right in here because I'm going to use it. And then come to the Wilbur if you want to see two of the funniest Nicks in comedy. I think the early show he said was sold out. Late show has a few tickets left. And Nick's Swartzen's new hour is fucking so funny, dude. It's just I'm excited to be watching it again and again and again. So oh yeah, there's a new segment. And this is the first time I'm doing this. It's new, not like new. We've done it 2 or 3 times. I'm going to do quick reviews of things. 60-second reviews. That's what it's called. And it's a straight fucking forward. It sounds. There's no music to it yet. There's this GIF that I made, which you can't see because of I don't know what reason. Let me move this so you can see it. Okay. I need some music for it. I gotta get like a like something that goes fast. Something that's just like time's running out. Go. All right. I never like watching long reviews for like products and stuff like that. And then there's like a fucking intro song like, okay, we're gonna review this thing, and then it's like they show this like minute and a half long fucking graphic of their channel and all that. It's just like fuck you. It's like the recipes and like when you go to those like food blogs and you're like, oh, Texas style chili with no beans. I can't wait to learn how to make this. On a summer day in 1989, my husband and I decided, we need to fuck off. I don't care. And then they added the jump to recipe thing. Oh, that was one of the greatest days in the history of the internet. The jump to recipe. People should have that button on their bodies. when like, oh, you'll never believe what happened, and then they start telling like a boring story. First, I was getting coffee, and that was at this fucking thing. There was a line, and you're like, jump to story. I don't care. Jump to story. Click, 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 click. Um, yeah. So the jump to recipe thing is like fucking amazing because I will never care about why you decided to make this chili recipe. No one cares. Only your fucking husband's going to read it or your wife if you're the guy writing it. And they're going to go, yeah, it's a great story. Even they don't care. They're just like, is the fucking chili ready? Um, so I click jump to recipe every time. So with these, I want to, and this is a long setup because it's the first time. So I know what you're going to say, and you can go fuck yourself. So this is the first one, so there's a little bit of a setup, but it's just going to be a thing that I have or used, or you could fucking recommend one for me to do. But I'm gonna try and wedge it all in to 60 seconds. And the one I'm doing now is kind of themed with what we've been talking about, which is biking. Um, Now I don't know if I should say why or what the thing is, then just start with a review, or here's the review and then I describe the product and all that. That might be cutting into it. Because a lot of the reviews, you know what you're watching before you watch it. Okay, so I'll just say that before. So I'm going in this review, I will review 2 pairs of cycling gloves that I got to try out. I was like, I'm going to try them out. I'll send one back. And I've tried them both out, and I'm going to let you know how I feel about them in this 60-second review. And there's a fucking stopwatch. There's a timer to keep me honest. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to 60-second review. Today, I am doing these Giro Monaco 2 gel gloves. They come in white. And then these Castelli Rosa Corsa Pro V gloves. Okay. The Castelli ones. Let's do this. The quality construction, not that great. They have these like gel pads on like the parts of your hands that you need. On use number 2, the fucking gel pad on the Castelli one on the thumb right here, frayed, came out, little piece of styrofoam in there, piece of shit, garbage. Took them back, or I'm returning them. They suck. The whole point is to have the padding, and it doesn't work. The Giros padding is better. It's more stable, but it's kind of hard. It's firm. It's almost like you just added like a piece of fucking cardboard in there. Still overall better. I'd go Giro over Castelli. Price about the same. Get the Giro. All right, that was that. Now that's going to be a work in progress, I think. But honestly, dude, if I was like, oh, what gloves should I get? I just looks up some videos and say, oh, you know what I did? I forgot to include, and this is fine because we're still testing this thing out. The Giros, one of my favorite parts is that they have these pull tabs. So when you're wearing it, um, and this is like if you're not a cyclist, you would need to know this. So you're like, well, the video should be longer, so you can explain what it is. But if you are already seeking out a video on cycling gloves, you'll know what the pull tabs are. So me just saying Giros, they come in this color, pull tabs, you'll know exactly. You'll go, oh great, they got pull tabs. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know what they are because I already fucking know what those are, and I'm here to look for the best cycling gloves. But they have pull tabs, and if you're not a cyclist or you're just getting into it, these pull tabs here are just to fucking get the glove off because cycling gloves and a lot of cycling clothing is very tight, and that's good for aerodynamics and um and just for things bunching up, like when you're hunched over and you're going, you don't want shit kind of bunching. And same with your gloves. You put your hands on the handlebars, you want them to just be like, you want them to be taut, and then you want the grips, the what do you call them, The gel inserts usually is some kind of gel. You want it to kind of stay where it is because you were sitting in one position. You're switching on the handlebars and stuff. But after 20, 30, 40 miles, I don't care what the fuck they put in there. It just starts to hurt. Your pressure point areas start to hurt. Um, but yeah, I would go the Giro gloves over the Castelli. Castelli makes great cycling clothes. They have good shorts, like bibs. Um, I have one of those that I've had for a long time. I still use it, very comfortable. Um, but the gloves were not like the padding is honestly it's not great. It was a piece of foam like for the insert. I'm like that's not going to protect anything. These, they're better. They have some kind of gel insert and it's very sturdy. It stays where it's supposed to. I like it. I love that the review's still going. Basically, this is so stupid. Um, but yeah, I want him to be quick, and I'm gonna try and make him like funnier and stuff. But I just need to get that first one out of the way to see how that felt. So Giro Monaco 2 gel. I got mine in an adult XL because I have a giant fucking you want to see some bicycle tan? There you go, right there. The watch, and then you can't really see this here, but from here to here is less tan. That's where your fingers come out of where the gloves are. Bicycle tan. There's no way to avoid the bike tan. It's just there. So, what else was I going to talk about? This is what you want. This is what you want. You want to be able to write the stuff down that you want to talk about and then not get to all of it because then that just shows that you fucking let yourself go. You forgot that you're recording. That's how I feel. That's when I feel it was a good one where I go, okay, yeah, I didn't get to everything and I just started fucking going. Okay. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention. The gloves are leather, which I like. Okay, so you know what I learned from doing this test run of that 60-second review? I need bullet points in front of me. At first, I told myself, don't have the bullet points because then you're going to want to look. And then, did I get to that one? And you won't be able to pop, 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 pop. But it honestly would help to have just maybe 3 and then just go from there. Yeah. All right. Good to know. Thanks for being the test audience for that. And these, if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, these are pointless for you. You're just listening to what the gloves are look like with like the worst, most brief description ever. So that you're better off watching the video for the 60-second review. And I guess you can clip this out. Like on YouTube, you can like clip out sections now. There's like a little tab for that in the review. So maybe these can stand on their own. All right, cool. Cool. Um, you know what I do need to do? Um, I need to thank a listener and a member of my Patreon. Um, and I don't want to necessarily give out his name. I don't know if he's comfortable with that, but he gave me a fucking switcher that he didn't want to use, a Black Magic. Hold on. One of these, which you can't really see. I'm doing the worst job of showing you what that looks like. Because he's that supportive of a comedy fan, podcast fan, and one of my Patreon supporters. It was like one of the sweetest things because I always like complain a little bit about how something's not fucking going right on this podcast because I'm just like doing what I can by myself. I don't have like a producer or an assistant or anyone that like does this with me. And he was like, hey, I had this Black Magic camera switcher thing that I used for something and now I don't anymore. You can just have it. It'll make life easier. And I was like, dude, that is so fucking nice of you. I was thinking about getting one of these and now I have one. And that is what's awesome about doing stuff like this and starting, Patreons and stuff. You just get people who are like on board, man. They're just like, I want to see fun stuff and I want to like support that. And now I just need to get to set up a second camera so I can use the Switch for part of it. But it's already come in handy because I can now plug the camera directly into that as opposed to into the computer, and it uses less processing power from the computer. So it's now working in two ways um, that are helping this show. So fucking thanks, dude. Um, I should have asked if you're comfortable with your name so I could just announce it, but err on the side of privacy for anything else. So yeah, all right. Look, I have to go to Boston. We'll see you guys next week.
It's the end of the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. Don't be a dick.